Good morning. So are you awake or still sleeping? I hope you are not sleeping because already 2 classes done. So you people are most active. Good morning. Good morning, Wagunara. So how are you people doing? Good? Okay, Wagunanu, nice. Because I know these two terms like Bagunara, how are you? I'm fine. I think it's a Bagunano. Yes, yes, good. Okay, in the last class, we were talking about the cell biology. And I think I told cell is nothing but it's a fundamental of both, like it's a plants as well as animals. Okay. And a few more scientists was there, like Robert Hooke. Thereafter, we are talking about the Anton van Leeuwenhoek. So these are the scientists who gave, or we can say who contributed a lot to the biology. And can you tell me like what is protoplast? Like we have already discussed in the last class, what is protoplast? Can anyone? Protoplast, protoplasm, cytoplasm. So these are the few terms which we have discussed in the last class. So can you tell me what's that? Oh, I'm getting the answer. Like nucleus plus cytoplasm is nothing but the protoplasm. That's good. And what about the protoplast? Oh, good. Yeah. I'm getting the answer like cell wall less. If you are removing the cell wall, whatever the part is left, that part is considered to be as a what? That part is considered to be as a protoplast. So protoplasm. Next one is a cytoplasm. So these are the things which we have discussed in the last class. So in this class, we'll move forward. Move forward means like a few more scientists comes into play, and that few more scientists is nothing but one is Schwann and other one is a Schleiden. So Schleiden and Schwann are the two good scientists who has given his contribution, and that contribution is like they said that cell theory will be like this. Oh, I'm getting the answer like cell theory. So in this topic, or we can say today's class, we will talk about what that is a cell theory. Okay. So in this case, if we are talking about the cell theory, so firstly we'll cell theory. Am I audible? Like my voice is reaching to you properly? If yes, just say thumbs up. If I am audible to everyone, yes, I am audible to everyone. Rishwita, Srinivas Rao, Chaitanya. Oh, like means a lot more thumbs up is there, means I'm 100% sure that my voice is reaching to you. Means I am audible to you. So we'll move to the next. So what's that? It's a cell theory. So if you are talking about the cell theory, so two terms are there. One is hypothesis and other one is the theory. So what is the main difference between these two? So hypothesis, it's like you are dreaming something. You are having some kind of idea, but you are not sure about the idea. That is known as hypothesis. But if the dream comes true, then we can say it's nothing but it's a theory. So that is the main difference between the hypothesis and theory. Like these days you are dreaming, so you will get into the medical college and all. But once you join any colleges, so your dream comes true. So now you are in hypothesizing, but after 2 years, you will have the theory, or we can say you will be in the class. So that is the main difference between the one is hypothesis and other one is a theory. Okay, so we'll move to the next. In this case, we will talk about two scientists, and that two scientists is already some students has already said this. So the first scientist is like one scientist. So this is the one scientist, and other scientists that also belongs to the same country, like both belongs to the same country, and the name of the country is Germany. Name of the country is Germany. So one side I am writing Schwann, and what is the contribution, and next side so these are the two scientists. So these are the two scientists who belongs to the same country, and the name of the country is nothing but Germany. And we all know that Germany is known for what? I think Germany is known for its invention, or we can say manufacturing good cars. So both belongs to the same country, and the name of the country is Germany. Okay, and we all know that both are working, or we can say both are experimenting at the same time, or we can say it's a kind of coincidence, like both the scientists are working on the same field, or we can say it's nothing but the cell biology. Okay, so in this case, can you answer someone like who is botanist and who is zoologist? So Swan is zoologist, and next one is Schleiden is botanist. So firstly we'll write, and other one is botanist. And if someone is botanist, obviously that person will have interest to the plants or animals. So obviously that person is having, or we can say its interest is towards the plants, and if it is animals, means obviously the one should be zoologist. Okay, so in these two cases, one is zoologist and one is botanist. So if it is a zoologist, then obviously he will started experimenting or we can say visualizing, started experimenting on different animals, or in general we can say living organism. Animals, or we can say in generalized way, we can say it's a living organism. So plant is living or animal is living? So plant is living or animal is living? I think both are living, right? Both are living. So one is zoologist and one is botanist. So botanist obviously will start studying on behavior, or we can say the structure of, so experimented on what? On different species of plant. Started experimenting on different species of plants. So one is different species of animal and one is different species of plants. But what happens, like let's say you are a student, and while giving your board exam, or we can say class 10th exam, so some of your friend is suggesting some X book, other is suggesting Y book, and other is suggesting some ABCD book. Okay, but after studying all those books in 1 or 2 years, whatever the time, so you will conclude that all the book is having the same content. All the book is having same content. So after studying of all those organisms, both the scientists concluded that so the content of every plants and animals are the same. So content of each and every plants and animals are same. So here we can say, after that, after experimenting of all these, he said that, he concluded that the plants, or we can say different species of plants, are made up of what? Are made up of either one cell, or we can say more than one cell. And usually we can say it's a more than one cell, because in kingdom Plantae, all multicellular autotrophic organisms are there. So here it's an experimental study, and what is the conclusion of? So conclusion is either the plants, it's a mango, or we can say tamarind, or any other plants. So all the plants consist of what? So the plant consists, or we can say, in other word, we can say composed of what? Cell, or we can say it's a product. Means everywhere he is finding the same thing. Everywhere he is finding the same thing. So that same thing is nothing but that's a fundamental unit of life, and that fundamental unit of life is cell. Okay. So obviously, we all know that the scientist community and a common people community, both are totally different. So scientist community are talking about what? Tell me. I just want to know the answer. So if it is a scientist community, like let's say 5 scientists are there. So what is the common talk? What is the common talk? It's a logical talk or illogical talk? So obviously it should be logical talk. Likewise, here it's a 2 scientists and both are talking to each other, or we can say it's a logical talking. Okay. In scientist community, it's like that. If some scientist saying that I have seen one apple is falling from the tree, so other scientists will say why it is falling. But in our, or we can say common people, so if your friend is saying that I have seen one apple is falling from the tree, so what's your response? So your response will be, is there, did you eat or not? Did you eat or not? So if you have not eaten, or we can say if you are still having, just give me, I will eat it. So this is the common people talk, and other one is the scientist community. So both is having different things. So they are the scientists, so obviously we will expect some kind of logical thing, not illogical thing, what we are talking. Okay. So here it's a conclusion. But if you are talking about the next, in this case, what he has concluded, or we can say the zoologist, or we can say Schwann is having the bigger brain, or we can say he is with the big mind. Now he played one game. He just get the information from Schleiden also, and whatever the information he is having, so he compiled all the information. One is coming from Owen and other is from the Schleiden, and he compiled one thing that is known as hypothesis. So he just put forward hypothesis, and in that hypothesis he said that I know everything. No doubt some part is stolen, but I know everything. So I know everything means he said that animal cell is having the outermost boundary. Animal cell is having outermost boundary, and that boundary is nothing but it's a highly thin, elastic, flexible, or we can say it's a highly vulnerable. It can break anytime. So that is the animal cells. So he said that animal cell is surrounded by what? Surrounded by thin and elastic thin and elastic boundary, and that we can call it as what? It's nothing but the plasma. It's nothing but we can call it as a plasma membrane. We can call it as a plasma membrane. And he said that one more thing, that that is not there in the animal cell, but it is there in the plant cell. It is there in the plant cell, and that is nothing but it's a rigid, or we can say it's a dead structure which supports the shape of the cells, and that is nothing but the cell wall. So he also said, or we can say he is also have information regarding what? Cell wall. So cell membrane already he has said, but he also has some information regarding the cell wall. So plant cell is having unique feature, and what's that unique feature? So that unique feature is cell wall. That unique feature is cell wall. So means one question I'm getting, like a plasma membrane and the cell membrane. So cell is having the outermost boundary, that is known as cell membrane. And the plasma membrane means what? Plasma, or we can say it's a fluid. And the fluid of the cells is nothing but the cytoplasm. And any structure which is surrounding the cytoplasm, or we can say the plasma, is known as plasma membrane. So we can use different terms. Like plasma membrane, cell membrane, biomembrane, plasma lemma. So it's having synonymous name, or we can say multiple names. At a time you can use any of them. But with the invention, just we are confining the terms. Nowadays we are using mainly it's a cell membrane, or we can say plasma membrane. But earlier we were calling it as a plasma lemma also. Okay. So here it's a. So one question I'm getting, like, does plasma membrane surround cell organelle? So see, plasma membrane is a kind of, we can say it's a common term. Plasma membrane means what? Plasma means it's a fluid, and fluid, like anyone can have the fluid. And if this fluid is having the surrounding, or we can say the things, that is known as plasma membrane. But normally we are saying it's a membrane, we are not confining. So cell is having it's a cell membrane. Mitochondria is having it's a mitochondrial membrane. Same as this chloroplast is having the chloroplast membrane. So one is saying that selectively permeable membrane. So cell membrane is selectively permeable. Why? Because the cell membrane is not allowing everyone to enter into it. Into it, because based on the requirement, let's say the cell is required only one thing. So the cell membrane will allow only that thing, and rest of the part is discarded, or we can say rest of the part is rejected. So that's why it's nothing but. And the cell wall, if you are talking, so cell wall is allowing most of the things. Why? Because cell wall is not having any sense. Why it is not having any sense? Because it is. Why it is not having sense? Because it is dead. So dead one is not having any sense. But the cell membrane is living, so it is having the sense. It can discriminate between which thing is required and which one is not required. Okay. So now we'll move to the next one. So if the question is coming in the NEET exam, this question is too much popular, like who proposed cell theory? So my answer is, if you are answering Schleiden and Schwann, you will get plus 4 marks. So out of 720, you will get 100% plus 4 marks. Likewise, you will climb the ladder and you will get into the row of 720 out of 720 to get the good medical college. Anyway, we'll move to the next. So if you are talking about the cell theory, so what are the proposal of cell theory? So the first one is, can we say that either it's a plants or animals, all are composed of what? All are composed of, tell me, all are composed of cell, or we can say it's a product. So cell and it's a product. What is osmosis? One by one we'll explain, because obviously each and everything is having its a sequence. You are not directly going to the class 12th. Firstly, you have to cross what? You have to pass your class 11th. Then you will enter into the class 12th. So slowly we'll move to the next part. So molecules pass from lower concentration to higher concentration. So actually, whenever you are going against the nature, that is lower to higher, means you have to put some extra effort, you have to put some extra force, or you have to do some extra work. Then only you can say you can go to that part. So it's nothing but the active transport. If you are moving from high level to low level, so it's a passive transport. It's a passive transport. If just I am giving one situation, if you are means your score is 600, your score is 600 and you want to score 700. So you have to move actively or passively. You have to move actively or passively. That is a 600 marks to 700 marks. 600 marks to 700 marks. So obviously it's a active. But another situation is you are scoring 600 and your parent is simply asking, no, I don't want 600 because 600 it's a huge marks, you will get the college, but I don't want 600 marks, I want some lesser marks, that is a 200. So in that case, will you have to put some effort or just keep on sleeping? So obviously it's a passive transport. So one is active transport and one is passive transport. So whenever you are having the hard work, or we can say hard work things are there, it is not an active transport. If there is no hard work, we can say it's a passive transport. Okay. So here it's nothing but the cell theory. In this cell theory, the first part is, if you are talking about the first part, means each and every organisms consist of what? Consist of cell or it's a product. So this is the one part. This is the one part. Thereafter, like second part, we can say that that is, this cell is nothing but the structural and functional unit of life. Functional unit of life. So it's nothing but the structural and functional unit of life. Okay. But obviously, let's say you are in the class and your friend is scoring good marks, or we can say, let's say your friend is topper. So will you be happy of being your friend as a topper? I just want the answer. If your friend is scoring good marks and your marks is not up to the mark, will you be happy or sad? No, just answer me in happy or sad. Yes. Mixed answer is there, like happy and sad. Happy like when no one is asking about your marks. Till the time it's a happy. But once your parent will ask your marks, then obviously the sad part of life will start. Because obviously each one is having, or we can say each incident is having the one is sad part and one is happy part. Okay, so here also happy part for them, like we can say Schleiden and Schwann. For them, it's like a happiest part. Why? Because they have proposed what? They have proposed a cell theory. But obviously, his friend, or we can say some other friend, is there who is not digesting the success of these two. Who is not digesting the success of these two. So he said that, or we can say he just keep on focusing it's a cell theory. Like if I find a single mistake, then I can say that you are wrong. That you are wrong. So finally, that third person becomes successful, that for third person becomes successful in finding the mistakes. And he found out the mistake, and the name of that we can say kind of villain in that in their life. So what is the name of that? Rudolf. Yes. You are Rudolf Virchow. Yes, that's the correct answer. Who is the villain of this? So villain of this is. So it's better to. So what is the drawback? What is the drawback of this cell theory that is published by this? So can we say that drawback is he is not having any idea. He is not having any idea about what? Like from where the cell is coming. So the Rudolf Virchow said that obviously it's not miracle that cell is falling from the sky or some other places, or we can say cell is coming from the Mars to the Earth. Obviously something or some phenomenon is there, so that produces what? That produces cell. Okay, so here it's a drawback. So what is a drawback? Drawback is not able to explain about what? About the formation of cells. Explain about the formation of cells, or we can say the formation of new cells, or we can say it's nothing but the regeneration, or we can say reproduction. So that is a drawback. That is a drawback. So obviously, so some kind of compromise is there. So Rudolf Virchow, he said that I will answer you, but just promise me you will keep my name in your book. You will keep my name in your book. Okay. So here it's a name of the villain, we can say, or not villain, actually he is good because he. So the name of the scientist, actually he is happy with the life. But obviously, the success of others sometimes is not digested. So the name of scientist is okay. So he started explaining. He just started explaining like how it is happening, or we can say how the new cells are coming, or we can say how the new cells are forming. He said that it's a simple funda, like each and every cell is coming from where? So each and every cell is coming from its pre-existing cells. It's a pre-existing cells, or we can say daughter cells are coming from where? From the daughter cells or from the parent cells? So from the daughter cells or from the parent cells? So obviously it's a parent cells. Okay, so here it's a one term he has given. Obviously the term was in Latin. The term was in Latin, and the sentence, so it's nothing but the Omnis cellula e cellula. So Omnis cellula e cellula. So obviously here we can say each and every cell is coming from where? Coming from the pre-existing cells. Okay. So obviously if you are translating this Latin into the English, the thing is each and every cells is coming, or we can say reproduced by their parent cells. So here we can say each and every cell, so each and every cell is coming from pre-existing cells. Coming from where? Pre-existing cells. Coming from the pre-existing cells. Okay. So after that, we can say, so this is the most important part. So if you have added, or we can say, if the two scientists, that is Schleiden and Schwann, have added these two terms, so all credit were gone to that. But here it's this is the drawback. So that's why we can say in the modern cell theory we have to include this scientist also. Like in modern cell theory we can say one is Schwann and next one is Schleiden, and other one we can say it's a Rudolf Virchow. Okay. So we can add like two terms already we have added. Now we have to add one more term. So one more term is father of pathology, again Schwann. So here we'll go to the next part. So we can add this. But obviously, what is a drawback of theory? Or we can say why this theory is not applicable. If the question is coming, cell theory is only applicable to cells, or we can say cellular, acellular, or we can say both cellular or acellular. So can I have the answer? So this cell theory is applicable to what? Is applicable to cells or acellular. So cellular or acellular. So to whom it is applicable? So obviously it's a cellular. Correct answer. Means we can say that it's a virus. So virus is cellular or acellular? Virus is cellular or acellular? So virus is acellular. Bacteria is cellular or acellular? So bacteria is also cellular. So we can explain all the kingdoms. Like it starts with the Monera, Protista, fungus, plantae, and Animalia. So all five kingdoms can be explained by this. So we can explain by this theory, that is a cell theory. Okay. So here it's a drawback is, so cell theory is not applicable. So overall, cell theory is not applicable to acellular things. And if you are talking about the acellular, so the best example is virus. Okay. Can you tell me, like virus, have you heard about the coronavirus? Have you heard about the coronavirus, or we can say COVID? Obviously yes. And I think this coronavirus helps you a lot because you don't have any classes and you were enjoying cause of the coronavirus. Yeah. So in this case, can we say that the virus, or we can say cell theory, is not applicable to what? Virus. Because virus is acellular. Same as it is, some other things can also be there, but this cell theory is mostly applicable to rest of the parts. So except this. So this is all about the cell theory. After that, we'll move to the next part, that cells in your body can have different size, different shape, and this different shape and size, that depends on what? So it depends on the function they are performing. Like let's say in your body, some cells is performing, or we can say some cells is performing the respiration. So their shape will be something like that. Same as it is if you are talking about the plant cells. So xylem. So xylem should be dead or living. So most part of the xylem should be dead or living. So obviously it's a dead. Obviously it's a dead, because we all know that xylem is used to conduct what? Is used to conduct water and minerals. So if anything is dead, it can efficiently conduct the water from one place to another place. But if it is a living, or we can say most part of the xylem is living, what will happen? So firstly the living cells will consume. Firstly, the living cell will consume some part of water, and rest of the part of water it will transport. Rest of the water it will transport. So that's why plant is wise. Plant is only selecting that part which is kind of dead, for the transportation of water and minerals. Okay, so here it's we'll move to the next one. Is so cell is having like a few, I will mention few cells, and rest of the cells, once you will be in class 11th, you will get to know a lot more cells. I'm just introducing few cells. So cell is having different shape, as well as the size of the cells is also varying. We can't expect each and every cells is having different, or we can say similar type of size. Okay, so here we'll go to the next. Size of the cells is also variable. Size of the cells is also variable. So in this case, if you are talking about the RBC, so how many of you are having the RBC? Have you heard about the RBC? Okay. Good. Okay, just I am giving you one condition. One person is living in Andhra Pradesh, and other person is living in what? Other person we can say living in Himalayan region. So who is having the more RBC? The one who is in Himalaya, or the one who is in Andhra Pradesh? First answer me. Red blood cells, or we can say RBC, who is having the more RBC? The one who is staying in Himalaya, or other one who is staying in Andhra Pradesh? Okay, so the answer is coming like a few students are saying it's Andhra Pradesh, and other one is saying it's Himalaya. But whoever is saying it's Himalaya, so Himalaya is the correct answer. Himalaya is the correct answer. Why? Because if you are ascending, what will happen? So the atmospheric pressure will go down. So our body will start producing what? More number of RBC. So if you want to increase your RBC, so where to go? Andhra Pradesh or Himalaya? That's good. Himalaya is also a good place. And what is the advantage of that? You don't feel hot. The temperature is cold. And you can have a lot more RBC. So once you increase your RBC, then come back to this place. Okay. So here we'll go to the, if you are talking about the RBC, so what is the shape of the RBC? So RBC, initially it's not like that, but later on it turns into what? It's a biconcave. Later it turns into the biconcave. After that, so here it's a increase in RBC is good. Obviously increase in RBC is good, because if you are having the more RBC, but obviously it depends on the we can say geographical condition. It's not like if the RBC is exceeding to certain limits, obviously it's bad for you. So initially the RBC is round, and after some time mature RBC is what? It's a biconcave. So here we can add one term. That is a matured RBC. Okay. Next one is Have you heard about the tracheids vessels? So obviously here tracheids vessels. So if you are talking about the tracheids, so most of the tracheids are elongated. Most of the tracheids are elongated, or we can say its length is too much. Next one is, I think you might have heard about the mesophyll cells. Mesophyll cells. So mesophyll cells is nothing but it's a cells that is present in the plants, or we can say it's a plant leaf. So it's a plant leaf and it is mainly helpful in photosynthesis. So that is nothing but the mesophyll cells. So how it looks like? So mostly the mesophyll cells looks oval, or we can say it's a round. Okay. So sometime you can have the epithelium that is a columnar epithelium, or we can say some cells are columnar. So I have just given few examples. That is not the shape of this, and other things also, like we can say that it's nerve cells. So what is the use of nerve cells? What is the use of nerve cells? So I think use of nerve cells, I think, is to conduct the impulses, to conduct the informations. So that is the main function of the nerve cells. Okay. So after that, if you are going to the size. So in this case, we can say normal, if you are talking about the normal eukaryotes. If you are talking about the normal eukaryotes. So in this case, normal eukaryotes is having the approx size, because eukaryotes means we can say it's a protista, fungus, plantae, animalia, a lot more organisms can come. So normal eukaryotic cells, it would be in the range of 10 to 20 micrometer. 10 to 20 micrometer. Same as it is if you are talking about the bacteria. If you are talking about the bacteria. So obviously the size of the bacteria will be something else. Normally we are saying it's a approx 3 to 5 micrometer. But here we can say the shape of the bacteria can be either it's we can say rod shaped, or we can say it's a spherical, or we can say it's a comma shaped, or we can say it's a spiral. So that also belongs to that. Okay. So generally I am saying it's a bacterial cells. And next one is the smallest cells. The smallest cells is nothing but we can say it's a mycoplasma. The smallest cells is mycoplasma, and its size is, again, it's a variable. So its size is variable. So we can say 0.1 to 0.5 approx in the range of micrometer. Okay. So again, if you are talking about the RBC, so RBC, it is in the range that is somehow we can say. So these are the few we can say shape and size. So why the shape and size is changing? Can anyone say why the shape and size is changing? So I think shape and size is changing because of the function. So if the function is different, accordingly they have to adapt, or otherwise it's a normal thing. Okay. So here it's a cells shape and size. So depends on what? Depends on function. So depends on function. The shape and size is The shape and size is what? It's a variable. So it is variable. So after that, we'll move to the next part. So it is somehow we can say introduce about the size and shape. Again, have you heard about the ostrich? Achha, who can run faster, the ostrich or human beings? The ostrich or human beings? Or we can say if you are running with the ostrich, who will win? The ostrich will win or you will win? Means at least you are accepting the truth. That's really appreciable. So we can say ostrich will win. So here we can say, so few terms I am writing. So largest we can say that is isolated cells, not it is in the body. So largest isolated cell is nothing but the ostrich egg. Okay, and next one is longest cell in your body. Do you have like the cells like which is longer, or we can say lengthwise more? Longest cell in your body. Longest cell in your body. I'm not asking you to compare with a cheetah. Cheetah, obviously, it's the fastest one. But if you are running with what? So running with the ostrich, who will win? Obviously, ostrich will win. Nerve cell is the longest one. So nerve cells is the longest one. So I am writing here it's a longest cell is nothing but the nerve cells. And the smallest one is already I have written this, that is a mycoplasma. So mycoplasma is the smallest one, and this is the largest one, and one more is longest one, but longest in plant. If the question is coming longest in plants, so we can say sclerenchymatous fiber. Sclerenchymatous fiber. Okay. So now we'll move to the next part. So obviously we'll go to an overview of the cells. Like obviously we can have the plant cells, animal cells, and many other cells like prokaryotic cells, eukaryotic cells we can have. So just try to differentiate, or we can say how to recognize its plant cells, or we can say it's animal cells, or in other words we can say it's a bacteria, or we can say prokaryotic cells, or this is the eukaryotic cells. So just we'll go one by one. So the difference between the prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. So firstly, one side I am writing it's a prokaryotic cells, and other is eukaryotic cells. Obviously, most of you know about the prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells. So just it's a kind of quiz where there will be the answer, like the question is from both the side. So first general question, or we can say normal question I'm asking. So which one is smaller in size? If you are talking, so which one should be smaller in size according to you? Can you guess? Can you guess which one is smaller in size? So mostly we can say prokaryotic cells should be smaller in size. As compared to the eukaryotic cells. So first thing I can write here is smaller in size, and the other one is larger in size. So one is smaller in size and other one is the larger in size. But why we are calling it as a prokaryotic and why you are calling it as a eukaryotic? So karyotic means it's a nucleus and pro means the older one, or we can say outdated type of version. And here it's a karyotic means again it's a nucleus, but U means it's a true type of nucleus, or we can say the advanced one, or we can say updated type of version. So here we can say it's a primitive nucleus. The nucleus is primitive, or we can say it's a primitive nucleus, and here we can say it's a advanced one, or we can say it's a primitive nucleus and this one is advanced nucleus. Okay, so after that, which one is having the nucleus that is surrounded by the nuclear membrane? That is surrounded by the nuclear membrane. So obviously it's eukaryotic cells. So eukaryotic cells are the one which is properly surrounded by the nuclear membrane, So here it's a nuclear membrane is, nuclear membrane is absent, and here so nuclear membrane is what, present or absent? So obviously it's a present. After that, which one is having the membrane bound organelles, or we can say the organelles which is surrounded by its boundary, So obviously it's a eukaryotic cells, not prokaryotic cells. So one is, we can say it's a membrane bound organelles. Membrane bound organelles are absent or present. So obviously it's absent, while in that case membrane bound organelles are present. So membrane bound organelles are, so membrane bound organelles are present. So can you give me the name of the membrane bound organelles? So I think we can say it's a powerhouse of the cells, mitochondria, kitchen of the cells, that is a chloroplast, suicidal bag, it's the lysosomes. So a lot more things you can find here. But it's not there. So we can say membrane bound organelles are absent, while membrane bound organelles are present. Okay. So here it's we'll move to the next. So if the nuclear membrane is not there, so what type of DNA will be there? If nuclear membrane is absent, what type of DNA, or we can say genetic material? It's a naked genetic material or it's a closed genetic material. So obviously it's a naked genetic material. So no doubt genetic material is there. So genetic material is naked. While in this case, genetic material enclosed by what? Enclosed by the nuclear membrane. Okay. Next one is genetic material can be anything, but usually what we are saying, so genetic material is DNA. Normally, usually we are saying genetic material is DNA, But in this case, DNA is also somehow different. DNA is also somehow different. So let's talk about the DNA. So the type of DNA is, one is naked, but it's a circular DNA. So what type of genetic material here? It's a circular DNA. But in this case, what are the type of genetic material? So this genetic material is no doubt enclosed by the membrane, but it's not circular. Here it's a linear DNA is present. So what type of DNA? That is linear DNA is present. Linear DNA is present. So next one is, what else we can add? So we can add a lot more things. So what are the next thing? Ribosomes are present in both. So, or we can say ribosomes, linear DNA. Linear DNA means, so it's like a simple thing. Anyone which is having the two ends, is known as linear. If it is not having any end, this is known as circular. So this one is having the circular DNA and this one is having the linear DNA. Okay. Next one is, if you are moving to the next, ribosome is present in both, no doubt. I absolutely agree with this. But in this case, ribosomes are there. But what type of ribosomes? 70 or 80? Just answer me fast. 70 or 80? So I think you are saying same thing. 70S type of ribosomes. 70S type of ribosomes. Next one is, in this case, both 70S as well as 80S, both will be there. But 70S is present in the chloroplast, and one is mitochondria. So in these two, it is present. So in this case, in the eukaryotes, ribosomes are there. But this ribosomes, if you are talking about 70S, then it should be the organelle. Means either it is present in the chloroplast or it is present in the, so mitochondria and chloroplast are the one which is having the 70S type of ribosomes. But in other part, or we can say in the cytoplasm, what type of, so in the cytoplasm, 70S type of ribosomes are there, or we can say one more is there, that is the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So rough endoplasmic reticulum is also having what? That is a ATS type of ribosome. So cytoplasm and RER is having ATS, while chloroplast, mitochondria is having 70S, while in the case of ribosomes, each and every one is having what? 70S type of. So one is, if we consider mitochondria and chloroplast as a separate cells, they are prokaryotic or eukaryotic. If you are talking about the separate cells, because a lot more fundamental theory is there, like mitochondria and chloroplast arise from, evolved from, originated from where? So originated from the prokaryotic like cells. Okay, so in that case we can say it's a prokaryotic cells, but no doubt it is present inside the eukaryotic cells, so we can't say. Next one is, if you are talking about what? Cytoskeletal structure. So cytoskeletal structure is cytoskeletal structure is absent. Cytoskeletal structure is absent. Here it's a cytoskeleton is present, and normally in detail we'll go to the classes, but here it's a, we can say cytoskeleton means it should be microtubules, microfilaments. So these are the cytoskeleton. These are the cytoskeleton. So next one is, if you are talking to the part, in this case, histone protein is absent. One term is there, histone protein. Histone protein is absent. So what does it mean by histone protein? So histone protein is a protein, normally, which helps in what? Packaging the DNA. Which helps in packaging the DNA. So let's say this is the DNA. This is the DNA, and with the help of histone protein, I am just packaging this DNA. Packaging this DNA. So histone protein is absent. In this case, histone protein is present. Histone protein is present. So both is having what? Both will divide or not? Obviously dividing power is having, both are having dividing power, but here it's a, we can say a mitosis, or we can say mitosis is absent. And this mitosis is known as, simply we can say it's a binary fission. Simply we can say it's a binary fission. Means one cell divided into the two. One cell divided into the two. So that is nothing but a mitosis. While in other case, mitosis as well as meiosis both are present. Mitosis and meiosis. So mitosis and meiosis are the type of division, and this helps in dividing the cells into two. So DNA packaging, obviously DNA is like a string, like a structure. So obviously you have to pack it. Cause of the space is very limited in our body. Space is very limited in our body. So that's why you have to fold the things, you have to pack the things before putting into that. Okay. And mitosis and meiosis is a type of division. Or we can say it's a cell division. Next one is a few examples. If you are talking about the examples, so better to say it's nothing but the kingdom. So it's a kingdom Monera, and here it's a rest of the four kingdoms, that is kingdom Protista, fungus, plantae, and the last one is Animalia. So these are the few things that is there. So today we'll stop the class. We'll stop the class here. In the next class, we'll move further, like the difference between the plant cells and animal cells, and the rest of the part means a lot more things that we will discuss in the given time. So, but we'll talk in, we can say, in the broad manner, or we can say descriptive manner in the. So, okay, bye-bye everyone. Because a lot more interesting thing is left. So keep on enjoying, have your lunch, so that you can enjoy your further classes.